way too late.
What can I say? Different Dimension and Void Gaming both have their weaknesses and strengths. The question is who is more well prepared for this last game, which we're going in right now, guys. So game 3 and the final game of this tournament is starting now with the picks and bans, and Different Dimension are on the blue side.
Exactly, and I think we've also mentioned that being on the blue side, especially right now when every member of the team is just trying to figure out what to do in this current patch, in this current meta, with the current changes, the first pick might be something. The first ban is Alistar, so that's definitely against Outbaker. What he did this game
That's
was...
new. You know, we talked about banning Kassadin, Lee Sin, Mundo, Jax, Irelia, a lot of stuff, but you really don't have enough bans. And Different Dimension just go with 2 target bans. They don't want to leave Void Gaming's picks that were actually successful. They were successful with everything else, and Different Dimension are just making sure that the previous game will not get repeated.
If the Malphite ban comes in as the last ban, I think we can just settle that the pick and ban phase was completely won and stomped by DD. The question is that really worth the try? So, I mean, you have Alistar and Diana out of the question. Without that, the composition would not work. So yes, it's worthy to ban the Elise.
So there's really only one way to know this. If it's worth a ban, if they're well prepared, and if all of this decision making is paying off, it's who's going to be champion. And last ban, it is going to be Lulu yet again, so they really don't want to get to face Pretty's Lulu, and there must be a reason for that. We have seen 5 out of 6 bans throughout the entire tournament, and Lulu has stayed there.
I mean, seriously, Bliss, Soraka is available again.
Yeah, well,
we've been waiting for this the whole day. Please, someone take Soraka to the bot lane and show the power of the stars to all this audience now. Malphite will stay in the top lane, so that's not a ban, but a rather nuisance pick in the top lane. The question is who is gonna face, because Amaya takes that blind pick in the top lane, not knowing who the enemy will be, so there's a chance for Warrior Lady to counter-pick the Malphite.
Well, there is a chance for Warrior Lady to actually counter-pick the Malphite, but in fact, Warrior Lady's ability power or mage-like champion pool is severely small. So at this point, I'm really worrying and thinking what could he possibly pick. Jax is banned. Trundle is one of the picks he goes for, but I'm not sure if he would go for it against the Malphite. And Fiora did not seem to work out previous game, so...
I mean, that was an even matchup in the top lane.
Yes.
And with Warrior Lady going even, I don't think that's what Different Dimension is looking for. So yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. But you can't forget that we only have a Rek'Sai on the blue side so far. So nothing is settled. And Rago is actually going for Lucian this game, with the Tristana being handed over to Different Dimension. Now we've seen what kind of massacre that little Yordle did in the late game. Let me emphasize that.
Okay, so I really like the change of strategy for Different Dimension. They were going for the safe picks. They were doing all they could, and it didn't work out in game 2. Now, with Mundo, no, actually Mundo is banned. With Lee Sin open, they actually go for Rek'Sai onto Consistent. And you know what? Despite Consistent being much better in Lee Sin, he wants to take that Rek'Sai away from Unknown Cycle, because they know that getting those safe picks away from Void Gaming could be the key to getting a good game 3 into this championship.
Well, with Rek'Sai you can monitor the movements of Lee Sin first of all, and if you are a good Lee Sin, you can also predict where Lee Sin is going to be at which point of the game. Now, we've seen brand supports, but there's a possibility that this is still a flexible pick, so we do not yet know if it's a middle lane brand or it's a support brand.
Instalox Sejuani, we saw that twice already today. I think it's 0% win with Sejuani? Yeah, so it hasn't worked yet.
But not
Teams
because
keep
of that
picking
pick.
it. Yeah, teams keeping it, so it has to be one of the best possible picks right here at this point. So Void Gaming need to change that 0% win percentage and be the champions of Southeast Europe. Else, it's just going to be Sejuani that might be their demise, actually.
Now we should be looking for a mid and a top pick.
Oh, Rise was actually left open. How could I
Yeah.
miss that?
There you go for the top lane with the AP champion or not. Yeah, that's also great because you
Oh.
can steal the tankiness of Malphite with the Trundle. I mean, both picks are great, but Rise being open, that's just something we haven't seen in a long time.
I think Different Dimension just showed Void Gaming, like, we know you're gonna get Rise. We're showing you that, we're in your head. And while Brand is most probably a support, knowing Dominant, he would go for Rise just because of the challenge, you know? Victor is also good. Yasuo is also good with Malphite. And pretty much a lot of picks are viable here for Dominant. So, question is, are we gonna see Rise get picked up? It was banned the entire tournament against him. Now it's finally open.
I mean, both teams are mixing up their strategies on a whole new basis. So yes, Victor is coming into the mid.
It's Victor. No Rise. I'm surprised, I gotta say. Like, Rise gets banned this time. Doesn't get banned this time. And we don't see it picked, so Dominant is gonna go with a safe pick. Dominant Victor is something very well known in Greece, and it's very well combined with a Sejuani and Malphite combo, so at this point, it's Wombo time. Are they gonna pull it off?
Now looking at these picks again, I would not expect a lot of early aggression from these picks, but then again, the 522 patch is just, I don't know, the warm bed of aggression. So there are always aggression at various points of the map, and in the bot lane with Brand, with Lucian, you can just be looking for the picks.
Well, this is a bot lane for Void Gaming that provides with a lot of burst, but they're very easily ganked, so I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Consistent camp around that bot lane, making sure that this Brand pick, which is very mobile, gets punished. And at this point, I'm also starting to worry about Psycho Sejuani. He was forced away from Mundo, he was forced away from Rek'Sai as it got picked, and right now he is on a champion that hasn't found any success yet in the tournament.
I would also say he was forced away from the Lee Sin pick because, well, we discussed why. So you cannot just pick your opponent's main champion without having a better knowledge of the champion, which, as you said, Psycho should not have.
Yes, Lee Sin is just the champion of Consistent, they go together.
Yeah, and other than the previous game, now we see a corrupting potion in Malphite, so he's looking to go into trades and he wants to win those trades. That couldn't be said about Trundle, who actually with his passive will regenerate most of his life in a percentage basis. The question is, how will that fare for them?
Yeah, so at this point, we have Trundle against Malphite on top lane. I'm not sure if you guys know what Trundle means on Warrior Lady, but let's just say that it has been one hell of a troll this top lane, and he is one of those players that take a pick that no one plays and makes it a real threat. So Void Gaming know about Warrior Lady's Trundle, and if Malphite can stop him, then I guess nothing can.
I couldn't agree with you more than that. My question is, in the late game, where Malphite's gonna be, well, unbeatable and undamageable, the Troll King has the chance to steal away all that tankiness, but only from one champion, and we have two hyper tanks in the late game, in the form of Malphite and Sejuani.
Yeah, so I guess one less tank is gonna cut it. Well, Panda gets very severely poked right off the bat, and Different Dimension get a very significant hit the exact moment they step themselves into that lane.
Yeah, exactly, and the laser beams are doing work in the bot lane, as you can see, but we have also expressed that Lucian is just, wow.
Well, dominant. He gets a little bit of a beating by Pretty on that mid lane. So he will have to be careful. Maybe Victor is not the kind of champion that he should be playing so aggressive with, at least not against an Orianna. And Trundle and Malphite on that top lane, I guess Trundle is the kind of pick that will wait for that corrupting potion to get used. And after that, Malphite will just not be able to do anything.
You can see instantly damage is done to that Malphite. He pops the potion and goes into the trade just because of that plus damage, but that does not scare Trundle at all, because as we all know, the more farm he gets, the more HP he gets back.
Oh, consistent flanks Rago, and he forces his flash out. Now this is going to be exactly what they need. The stun connects, but Flay is going to be double. Now, well, Panda does not have a death sentence to go with, but it is going to be Summoner Spell from Rago going on cooldown, and this will make Consistent's next gank much more dangerous.
Exactly, so the thing with Dash is that it's a little bit slower than the Flash. Now that's some nice damage from the Lucian on the bot lane, but still, there's no huge CS difference between the two AD carries. Of course, we are only the 4th minute of the game, but the harass is coming out of both sides, except that flank just did.
Oh, that was a close death sentence. It didn't quite connect, and there's absolutely no way that different dimension bot lane can actually win without a recall or jungle help. But I'm just taking a look at top lane. Both of them are farming fine, and Trundle, Warrior Lady, actually chooses to get pushed in. Something that would normally make a Mia very nervous of getting canked, but it's not going to be the case this time.
I think for the past few matches, we have always had a double teleport top lane, which is not even necessary in the current match, if you ask me, because you are given the potential, the chance to take Ignite, get a few kills on your own, or with the help of your jungler, using that plus damage to your own advantage. But the nerf on the Grievous ones is just too huge not to notice.
Yeah, well, Warrior Lady, he's right there. He's sustaining himself with his passive. With every single minion that dies, he gains a little bit of HP. So it is a sustained battle against the Mia. I guess we're going to see them full HP for the entire game. And while that happens, we do see Psycho actually invading the jungle of Konzisen, something we haven't seen happen to Konzisen the entire tournament. So not only he does so, but he will get the blue buff steal. But meanwhile on bot lane, Rago doesn't have his blast this time, but Unbaro will not actually knock up Lucian. Will it matter? No. The Chilling Smite just gets the kill, first blood.
Still, the mindset was right, Rago, so he waited off the Unbaro. While doing that, he put out his life at risk and then had to die. That was the grenade on his head. That was the Ignite taken on him, and the Smite was the one that finished him off. So there's a nice damage anticipation, the nice weight, but still not enough to survive in the bot lane. Nice abusing of the flash missing from the AD carry.
At this point, Konzisen sacrificed his own blue buff for early dominance in that bot lane, and the different dimension lane that was heavily losing actually now has the upper hand. Tristana is 10 CS ahead. Miraculo will have a much easier sustain against those power spikes, and Mia just sustains so well on the top lane.
The key point is that Lucian had to go home. He wasn't given a choice. Now level 6s are coming right up, and the ultimate is just used on Trundle.
Well,
now that's a small map fight.
Yeah, that's no longer a mountain. That's probably a stone, and that's why Trundle is getting picked against Malphite. So as long as he can keep him away from all those heavy resistances he gets, then Malphite is not really that big of a problem. So Warrior Lady could actually steal a lot of resistances, he goes for a very heavy damage build most of the times. And now, oh, Wild Panda gets a death sentence. Shockwave will get flashed, and Dominant loses his flash very early into this laning phase. Meanwhile, Warrior Lady avoids the unstoppable force with a flash, and now he is in a position to turn around. Psycho is going 1 against 1, but it won't be a long one.
I mean, he just zoned 2 people on his own, and Conzison is still in the top lane. There could be a potential.
Oh, Psycho, you get caught. And Conzison is right there. He's not that strong, so Psycho will not feel too much in danger, especially now that Dominant is going towards top lane.
Exactly, so this is the time that Rek'Sai and Trundle need to run away. There's no flash on Trundle.
Tower was killed, and at this point, Warrior Lady exchanges himself for a tower. He almost gets Psycho on the way, and Dominant would not allow that to happen, but it's a kill for a tower, which is pretty safe to say that favors different dimension.
Imagine that later in the game, he cannot be get ganked. He cannot get ganked without the potential threat of dying or losing at least one in that 1v2 situation. Now, in the middle lane, you can see Malphite farming up. Why? Because Dominant just walked up to the top lane to help out. The first tower is now destroyed in the top lane, but in terms of kills, these streams are running pretty much even.
Yeah, so we do see a lane swap, surprisingly. Emilia will stay on that middle lane, and pretty poking down Emilia with a corrupting pot and that shield from his passive. That is just going to be such a hard task. Meanwhile, if Dominant goes to top lane, he's sacrificing a blue buff for pretty much nothing. So that's why we're going to see Dominant come right back into the mid lane, and Trundle will be left solo pushing.
Now that's not good. Exactly. The column just came out, but what I was trying to tell earlier about the bot lane, Lucian was sent home, and that is just great and looking good for different dimension, because he only could afford 2 long swords, which means he did not acquire a kill right now in the bot lane. I think if he could have waited for the BF sword, that would have been pretty much it in the bot lane for that Tristana.
Actually used by Media, so he doesn't lose his tower. That was very interesting at the very least. Now we do see Void Gaming go for a dragon right after teleport is used by Malphite. So a little bit of contradictory body language for Void Gaming. They could potentially be baiting a fight, but without Malphite, that's not the best possible idea. So Conzison wants to go for a steal with the Dark Passage. He goes for it, he doesn't quite get it, but he doesn't die.
And he still has the flash up, so yeah, you could say it was safe play thanks to the Lantern being there, but there was a nice communication in Void Gaming, as you could have seen, because instantly as the Lantern arrived, they stopped attacking the dragon, so the smite could not connect in time, thus granting the dragon buff, the first dragon buff of the game to Void Gaming for the plus 6% damage.
Yeah, so right now, surprisingly, Rago is still leading in CS, despite him dying once and devoting so much of his time towards that dragon.
Well, that's the thing about Lucian. Even if he gets killed in the lane, he will come back. The laser beams just deal a huge amount of damage, and the double auto attacks are just unprecedented in the bot lane. Other than that, he is still looking for the Essence River, while Tristana just got an early BF sword for damage, for farming potential. Other than that, I think she will just get a static shiv in the early game.
Yeah, well, 2 pink wards right around the dragon for Void Gaming. Trundle of Warrior Lady has been pushing non-stop, and he actually forced Emilia's teleport too, which is a small win on its own. But that costed them a dragon. Now, beautiful death sentence onto Rago. The box comes out. Wild Panda gets got Pyroclast, bounces back and forth. Wild Panda survives this, but it is going to be Conzison that is very close. That trinket, he gets spotted.
Yeah, in a 1v2 situation against the Brand and the Lucian, you do not want to get caught. There is Bone. I mean, the recall just got cancelled by Lucian. Now we are in the 12th minute of the game, and the only thing The only difference between two teams is one tower being exchanged for one dragon.
So this is pretty much safe to say still a derby. Both teams are 1 against 1 on kills too, so dead even yet again. And Mia will have to stay there to keep his tower from going down. And as long as he doesn't have teleport, different dimension have the chance to create some fighting potential on that bot lane while Emilia can follow. Thing is, Emilia has the chance to interrupt that Warrior Lady teleport, but now Void Gaming are going for the tower. Meanwhile, Warrior Lady is chasing Emilia, and Unstoppable Force was used, and now we could potentially see a teleport come up as Malphite is no longer capable of interrupting that teleport. Pretty is getting caught, he has to floss away, and Emilia with that corrupting pot, he's trying to keep his tower from going down. Warrior Lady with the Trundle is known for how fast he brings buildings down. So action everywhere.
Still running low mana. Oh, that ward is beautiful placed. That will just get the attention of Psycho, but will not stop him from getting to the bot lane and taking that tower down, which means we are pretty much even in towers count between the two teams in the final game, and that's a beautiful dodge.
Yeah, so Dominant on the mid lane, now being out of mana. He should be very careful, as also while Panda closes in. But most importantly, it is going to be consistent going for a dive onto that top lane. Emilia, he is in trouble. There comes the knockup. Will we see the kill? It is going to be consistent who picks it up. And now enough time is being bought by Different Dimension to go for that tower. Only Sejuani being close.
Yeah.
And Psycho is level 7, so he should be very careful. Meanwhile, also mid lane is getting pushed, and we do see rotations that remind us Game 1 from Different Dimension.
Exactly. I mean, the top lane from Warrior Lady is just beautiful yet again, thanks to that Trundle pick, and it kind of reminds me of this Poppy. Because, you know, with the usage of your ultimate, you can just steal away all the tankiness from the enemy member, thus making him vulnerable and yourself invulnerable, and still deal a lot of damage. The only weakness that Trundle has to face in the early, in the mid, and in the late game.
Oh, beautiful death send, and Zolf has to flash back. Will we see damage? There comes the Shockwave. It is going to be a 1-for-1 trading supports, but Dominant is very low too. Will he survive is the question. Pretty will get the kill with a Saturn, getting some HP, but now Psycho is thirsty for payback. He knows he can't possibly do it. Orianna with an Athens and Holy Grail already powerful enough to face Sejuani.
That was beautifully executed dive right there in the middle lane. 2-for-1 exchange after all by Different Dimension.
Oh, Psycho, he's 1 hit away from dying, and there we go. Miracolo with the flash, making sure that he gets that kill. Now Warrior Lady tries to kite around the tower, completely avoiding Emilia and going for the tower, while he gets all the attention. Consistent and Miracolo go for the Herald, and a lot of objectives chased by Different Dimension. Now Lady has to trade. He has the level 2 ultimate that makes him even stronger, and a lot of attention is drawn by Void Gaming. He has to flash over the wall, and that's exactly what he does. But a flash for a Herald, I guess it's worth it.
Yeah, that's ballsy plays, but that's what Different Dimension has to do right now. We are in the 15th minute of the game, where the focus is primarily at...
Oh, Warrior Lady. He goes again.
He just can't stop.
Yeah, he's thirsty for action. Like, farming is so boring for him. You can just tell.
It was so boring. We are at the 16th minute, and he almost has 150 CES, just like Orianna. I mean, they are looking great in their own lanes, and as a team as well. The only huge difference between CS is in the bottom lane, yet again, in favor of Void Gaming.
Sometimes when I play solo queue, I just want my trolls to be like Warrior Lady, but I never get lucky, man. So Trundle making the best out of that bot lane now. We do see some attention around the Dragon, and the Herald on Consistent is not very well used, to say the least. So now Consistent being half HP, he's no longer able to go for a steal, so they will instead go for a push on that mid lane, trying to get that mid lane tower.
The calling comes out, thus denying that tower destroying potential. Still, the difference between the two teams is around 3,000 gold, and only one tower in favor of different dimension. The second Dragon buff is actually gonna be taken down by Void Gaming, thus granting them the plus tower destroying potential. And it's actually an exchange of tower for Dragon
Yet
by
again.
different dimension. Yes, exactly. And in the current meta, I think praying for the Dragon buffs to stack up.
Oh, Psycho goes in. Glacial Prisoner gets 4, but there's no follow-up. Like, this was such a good opportunity, but jumping over a wall, you just gotta know your team can't follow as fast.
I mean, you will not get a better Glacial Fissure than that one. So that's a 4-man stun right there in front of our eyes. And yeah, no follow-up, because I think the communication was a little misleading there. You see, Void Gaming still had the flashes up, and that would have been worth a try.
Well, trading a tower for a dragon, as you said, different dimension want a little bit of a greater mid-game potential, where Void Gaming are going to go for greater late game yet again, and that seems to be the key to a victory against different dimension. Now, with 2 dragons, they could potentially find a chance to push back and get some towers to potentially equalize the gold, but against Warrior Lady, pushing is never an option when he has Trundled, so they have to send a squad to stop him. And every time they do so, different dimension is always ready to gain a tower, a buff, any form of resource in the other side of the map.
I mean, he only has 1 Hydra, but with his abilities to reset his auto attack and to give him attack speed as well, he is just great at pushing out lanes with the help of the Hydra, and taking down towers with those 2 abilities is just easier than ever. So Trundle is a great pick, not just in this current match, but I think pretty much against tanks, he's the best.
Yeah, so, well, Panda is staying around mid lane. He wants to make sure that Pretty does not get initiated on mid. Well, it's a 2 versus 2 on top lane. And we do see both supports roaming. Now, while Panda gets a Descendants on 12, this definitely gonna be bad for the support of VG. He gets down while Panda is the one who takes it. And despite the teleport coming up, different dimension, grab a free kill. While Panda is at it again.
Yeah, and we're actually looking at 8 kills right now as we are approaching the 20th minute. I think this is our slowest game so far, but I'm not saying that the players are not active. Trades are going throughout the map, as you can see, but damage is not that huge as we've seen before, because
look at Warrior Lady bring that tower down. Just he gets 3 hits and it's almost half HP. Now he flashes over, but he has to get away from a KO Storm. And this is just gonna be buying time at this point, but Baron has been initiated, and with both Malphite, who has no teleport by the way, and Dominant on that bottom side, it could potentially be a good call.
Could have been, yes.
Could have been.
But
no risky.
Since Sejuani was nearby, and with just a little bit of vision, that could have been a steal. I think that's just too risky and too early.
Pretty gets caught with a Glacial Prison. Good flash over the wall though. Shockwave will get dodged by the flash too, so a lot of aggression. 0 kills. And these guys just know each other by heart. I like the fact that they didn't go for Baron just because of Psycho's infamous Baron steals. He just does it when he needs to. He did that before today, and risking it when you're ahead as different dimension doesn't sound that good of an idea.
It's not just it. The fight after that Baron call was denied and declined by different dimension. I mean, they just came in the nick of time by Pri and by Psycho as well, because if the Orion and Ultimate connected, I think that would have been a kill, and if 1 kill, then more kills for different dimension. And now we are looking at 6 kills and the winning team. So 4K gold lead in the 20th minute. I'm not saying we haven't seen a bigger lead this day, but that's still massive.
Yeah, so 21 minutes in, different dimension have a little bit of an upper hand, but those dragons are a real threat. We saw them getting piled up the previous game, and Void Gaming actually used the dragon objective as bait several times. So now with the Baron being up, both teams know that early Barons are the thing. So Rago goes aggressive against Pretty. Shockwave gets missed. Rago gets a kill alone. The death sentence comes, but it's already too late. Wild Panda gets a payback, but it's a 1-for-1. And Rago shows us why we called it marksman meta.
Exactly, with the flash and the heal, he just showed us some flashy plays with the damage in the middle.
Dominant gets flanked. There comes the Warrior Lady. She just clubs down Dominant, but she's still alive. Now there is Emilia to actually heal, but there comes the flash and knockup. It is going to be consistent. Getting that kill. Oath is condemned to die, and the Glacial Prison has absolutely no follow-up. So there comes the damage. Flash over the wall. It is going to be Sejuani who dies, and the double kill gives him the reset. It is going to be the death sentence grabbing Emilia, and this is going to be different dimension, officially picking the first team fight of this game.
And we could say that was just 4 kills, but looking at the minimap, we can see Lucian just coming back from his first death. I mean, from his previous death. Now, as we are approaching the 24th minute, slowly but steadily, the hook just misses.
Wow, that was close. So, Wild Panda goes fishing. Now, Kalin comes in. It gets blocked by the Warrior Lady, and it is going to be Baron, picked up successfully by DD.
That was the second Baron call actually of this match, but the first successful one, and the lockout gets completed on Rek'Sai, getting her tankier and all other team members as well with the shield and the bonus magic resistance. I think Victor is just in a tough spot right now, although Luden's Echo is a nice item and a huge burst item. That's nice to have on Victor. I don't think that's gonna be enough.
I just love different dimensions inventory right now. I mean, sure, they will lose Dragon number 3, but just to take a look at those magic resistant items, we do see Spirit Visage for Trundle. It's Iron Solari completed by Consistent, and of course the Athenes for Orianna. So taking a look at Void Gaming's lineup, magic damage comes out from everyone. So you really can't go wrong by building magic resistance. And it's pretty much Rago who has to do all the work now.
Exactly, that is why he has been picked out numerous times in this game, and I wouldn't be surprised if that still happened in further fights to come. Now you can see, even though Tristana is up like 2 kills and 3 assists, he is down 50 CS, and that makes them kind of even, but the 2 towers account for that as well.
Well, Baron buff has picked up, and we do see now Warrior Lady getting that inner tower. He still goes for it. He knows the whole Void Gaming is behind him, and he does not care. There comes the pillar. He goes in for the backdoor. This is what Warrior Lady looks like with the Trundle pick. He goes for the inhibitor. He completely ignores Void Gaming, and the damage will now be casted onto Dominant. He flashes in. He's trying to go for the kill. One more hit will do it. He won't quite get it, but it is going to be Void Gaming who realize now how big of a problem the Trundle is going to be later on in the late game.
Yeah, especially with more damage being picked up by him in the form of Black River. He can also inflict serious damage and hurt even Malphite and or Sejuani without the use of his ultimate on them. Now, as we've seen, Trundle used his ultimate on Victor, thus almost acquiring 2 damage against him, but still not being able to pick up the kill. That just said, oh, that's some damage.
And he ignored Dominant too for the most time of that duel, so he got his attention on that inhibitor. It wasn't very successful, but 25 minutes in, we had the first inhibitor getting exposed, and although Warrior Lady will not have that Baron buff now, getting that inhibitor on that bot lane is going to be a piece of cake. That's why we see him go down there yet again. His teleport is almost up, and with 4 Baron buffs, different dimension will split this fight in 2 parts.
Like the way that different dimension is thinking in this particular game, because last game, Fiora and even the AD carry just picked up Last Whispers too late. Now, we are not even at the 30th minute of the game, but still, Tristana has the Last Whispers, so he can inflict damage even to Sejuani and Malphite, which did not happen in the previous game. That's what got a few times the lead to Void Gaming.
Yeah, so Baron buff now officially expired. Not the most well-used Baron buff, we could say, but Void Gaming have the power to play against turtle compositions. Like Kalin gives them a very good wave clear, and their initiation in piled up choke points like the inhibitor towers is very deadly with a Glacial Prison and the Unstoppable Force. So Different Dimension will not quite go for it yet, but as long as they can split those fights and allow Warrior Lady to go for those one-on-one pushes, then I just know that those inhibitors are not going to be up for much more.
Now my question is, how Oriana's ultimate can connect, because definitely has the damage with the Travadon being picked up, and Athena's Unholy Grail will just provide enough mana regen that she can stay in the fight as long as she wants to. In a middle lane, I think Void Gaming has the advantage, but you have to take into consideration Warrior Lady. She's gonna take that inhibitor down in no time.
It's a base race. I can't watch again this thing. Warrior Lady goes for the inhibitor. We have seen this before. Emilia is there, and inhibitor for inhibitor are gonna get traded, but Trundle is not the kind of pick that you can leave in your base. Now it is gonna be Different Dimension. Oh, Unstoppable Force completely misses. This is devastating. The flash completely makes Emilia's initiation unworth, and now first Nexus Tower goes down for Warrior Lady. She keeps going. Different Dimension will not let them recall in pace. And while they're chasing, it is Dominant who goes for Pretty, but he gets caught in the way. Glacial Prison only gets Miracle though, and they go in. Rocky jumps over the wall, but look at DD, they're winning 4 against 5. And Warrior Lady is just pushing alone on the meantime. Consistent is still alive. Everyone from Different Dimension is still alive, and Warrior Lady keeps going. He's there, he's clubbing, he's strong. No one dares to stop him, and Mia is the only one to be there. And now Bunny Psycho goes down. Now Warrior Lady is on to the Nexus. He wants to be a champion of Southeast Europe, and he does it alone for the second time.
I mean, seriously, this is the kind of ending that we have to see from these two teams. The